Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. Welcome back to Tech Watch, where we keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. I'm Sam Bushman, Jay Harrison with me. This broadcast is brought to you by NetworkProvidersInc.com. You've got a friend when it comes to IT. Think about a strategic partner with IT knowledge. Think about security. Think about a help desk. Think about decisions that can bless your company, help it prosper, save you money, embrace AI, and best of all, not have IT issues, because we got a help desk as well. Spread the word, networkprovidersinc.com. Hi, Jay.
Hey, Sam. How's it going?
It's going fantastic, sir. There's all kinds of weird tech news out there, though.
There's lots of in there, lots of it.
Global smartphones, shipments falling. Well, I don't know why they call these things smartphones, because my phone just seems to be dumber all the time. It's just less smart than any other device I have, it seems like.
It's supposed to be getting smarter and smarter, getting AI and, just becoming better every day, but it's not. But it's interesting, though, the global smartphone shipments fell 11% year over year in the second quarter of this year. It was the worst quarter two in 13 years, as AI-driven memory shortages have pushed up the costs for components and hurting low-cost makers the most. So I think it's pretty incredible, though, the 13-year low in phone shipments. I don't know. I think it's a mature market. I think there's a lot of reasons, not just the price of RAM and processors that are pushing it up, but it's there's a lot of reasons for this, and it's pretty incredible.
Do you think it's just an affordability problem?
I think it's partly that. I think it's also that everything's so mature. I mean, like, for example, I've got an iPhone 14. My son has, adult son, he has an iPhone 10 that he's been had for whatever that is, 7, 8, 9 years, however long it's been out. He's still fine. I mean, I'm like, when are you going to upgrade? And he's like, it works for me. I'm kind of waiting for it to break or die or something. So, I mean,
Well, and that's kind of why I bring up the discussion, Jay, because I think it's partly that these phones are so expensive. And I know they want to point to that. And I don't disagree that that relates. But I guess my opinion is it's only partly that. The real point is, why would I upgrade if I don't need to? His point's right. There's not a whole lot in the new phones. Now, I know they have faster chips. I know they have better cameras. I'm not saying there's no advancement whatsoever.
Right.
But in my mind, there's not solid, significant advancement that would justify just upgrading all the time. There's not.
I agree. There's no killer app. There's no like, oh my gosh. They talked about maybe that'll still happen September. iPhone will roll out a Fold or something. But, they're also talking about it might be $2,000, $3,000 if they do. I don't know that people are ready to drop that much. I mean, I don't even drop that much for a high-end laptop, if for a day-to-day driver. So it'd be hard to justify.
Well, and why can I get a laptop or even one of these mini PCs that has way more functionality and features way cheaper than I can get a phone for?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you're not paying for a screen and the compactness.
In a laptop, I am.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
In fact, in a laptop, I'm paying for a way bigger screen.
Right. Good point.
Now you say, well, Sam, it's not as rough and tumble, and it's really hard to get those electronics in the tiny, form factor and stuff. Okay, I get it to some degree.
Some points to that.
But then why are these mini PCs in a small form factor cheaper than some of the bigger desktop tower machines then?
I don't know. I think that, just cost of scale, and I think they're turning out a lot of them. And it's also where you look. You got to know where to look. Amazon isn't just your go-to place. You can find good deals on there, but you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're looking for. And they're kind of a needle in a haystack sometimes. We find them sometimes and buy them. But, if you're not really savvy in the tech world, it's not an easy thing to just find. They're kind of gems when you do find them.
There you have it. Anyway, I just find it very interesting indeed and worth discussing. I think what I really would like to see, and this is why I spend the time, hopefully there'll be some feedback that somebody might listen to and take, Jay. But what I really think we need to do is we need to make AI built into your cell phone in a meaningful way. I've got the later iPhone 17 or whatever it is. I've got a basic version, so it doesn't have the extra cameras and stuff, but it's still the latest OS and the latest phone.
Right.
And it's good. But they haven't advanced anything really. They've got limited AI in it. You can install ChatGPT and talk to ChatGPT through Siri. So there's a couple of advancements that are cool.
Is it better than Alexa?
Oh, the ChatGPT by far.
No, I mean the Siri on the.
But the Siri, no, the Siri's not any better than it was on my 13.
Oh, okay.
That's my point, is that we have not expanded Siri. Siri should be competing with some of these other systems.
It's
the other
pretty
issue
laggy.
is this: the maps from Google and the maps from Apple. Everybody hates the maps. They're getting worse, not better. I don't understand how they get worse, but they do. They give you bogus directions places. You would think they'd be better and better with Waymo driving around and all these different things that could increase maps
Right.
and people traveling places and getting to the wrong place. And I mean, you would think that the maps would continue, but everybody says, for example, my wife says, I love the look of the Apple Maps better. And people say, yeah, that's true, but the Google Maps, get you more places. But people say, I hate the way the Google Maps display and everything else. But there's no great map app. And you would think it's been around for what? How long have we been using
Maps
I'm not sure what to
easily
call it.
into the 90s.
Maps, but
I mean,
more
MapQuest,
driving
you remember
instructions,
that,
right?
Yeah,
More. It used to be a Garmin, right? You used to have a hardware device for it. Now it's on your phone. So the whole point of direction capabilities tied to maps has been around 30 years, Jay?
At least, yeah. I remember in the mid-90s printing out directions from MapQuest, and you
Right, but I'm talking about the modern day Garmin forward stuff.
Even Garmin's by the late 90s for sure, yeah.
Okay, and so I'm saying, how come it's not a lot better?
I don't know. It should be better, I think. And I think it probably is. I mean, certainly it's better than it was. But we just think, you look at
significantly.
the scale of processors, right? Maps hasn't really kept up with Moore's law, so to speak, right?
Well, and I don't even know that it's better enough to be significant, though. Right? Now, I literally, check a restaurant near me or a store near me, and then I drive straight to it because it's right there. Then I find out it's been closed for 2 years. Or I find out that it's not even the same restaurant anymore.
Google is pretty good about keeping that up to date. Apple, maybe not as much, but I use Apple Maps. It's the default, so that's what you end up doing.
Which look do you like better?
I would say Apple Maps, just more out of familiarity than the look. I think they're both adequate.
Anyway, I bring it up because I know this. It's frustrating. And then you get a few of these other apps that are unique that compete. I can't remember what they're called right now. And they're better at traffic jams. And
you're thinking of Waze.
Waze.
But Waze just had a big announcement. Actually, it was kind of an under-the-radar announcement, and people are making a big deal about it. But they just passed a thing that said all disputes and everything else is going to be handled in Israel. You've got to take it to Tel Aviv if you have a problem with it because it's an Israeli app. And a lot of people are just going, whoa, I'm not doing this. I'm backing out. I'm uninstalling Waze. We didn't realize this or whatever. But somehow, even though they were bought by Google or whatever, they continue to keep their headquarters in Israel. And so all legal disputes.
How TikTok has been worked out. Nothing's really changed with TikTok much, has it?
I don't think so. Not on the surface.
Well, and whether its ownership is taken, I don't know. Donald was going to go ahead and Donald averted that and just circumvented Congress and everything else. And now I don't even know what's happening with TikTok.
It's kind of been on the down low, hasn't it?
But you think the Chinese don't have a handle on that still?
No, I think that
they just gave it up and turned it over to the Americans?
It's kind of a shell game, it seems like, on the surface, right?
Yeah, and the same thing's true. So, there's not any great map apps, but I think that's one of the, in my opinion, killer apps for your phone is to be able to have just great directions. And as society grows and things get bigger, unless you live in a really small town, it's very hard to keep up with all the construction and all the changes and everything that happens. If I drive, 40 miles from my house, a place that I don't go very often, directions are really, 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 really valuable.
Yeah.
So I don't see that that's really improved much. I don't see that AI on the phones have improved much. It's touted as this marketing hype, but it's really clunky to use. It's not usable. Now, I will give them that they have better pictures than they've always had. It's easier to take pictures, and your pictures look good at night and some things. So there's some advancements, but then they've also moved forward to some very strange formats that other systems don't support. And incompatibilities are a problem that they should be solving. And, if they really want us to start buying newer phones, yeah, you got to make the components cheaper, but you've also got to start to give me something that I want and need, and you've got to advance things that you've given us already. If you give me Siri as an assistant, and that assistant isn't any better 10 years later, 15 years later, I'm kind of thinking, what value is it? Other systems have already, surpassed it big time.
Well, and I don't think that, maybe Google has improved. I don't have an Android. I don't use one day to day. So maybe Gemini or whatever they run on Android has gotten better or gotten more AI, but if it isn't making headlines,
Well, and if it is way better and stuff like that, I mean, when I sit with people that have Androids, they don't just mock me because their system's awesome and mine's not. I mean, they've got some pros and I've got some pros and we can debate about it. And I'm not really.
Yeah, but it seems like sixes.
Yeah, it seems like 6s. I'm not really loyal to one phone manufacturer necessarily. The reason I use the iPhone is because they claim it's better with screen, reader access for me, and so that's why I stick with it.
The reason I use it is because they claim it's more secure. Like iOS is supposed to be the most secure operating system on the planet.
Well, and hopefully that remains true, but I don't know if it will or not. Now, Apple just surpassed Nvidia as the most valuable company in the world, right?
I hadn't heard that. I know they've been jockeying for place, so that doesn't surprise me.
Well, Elon Musk not far behind, Jay. Musk quietly buys, what is it, $1 billion power?
A $1 billion.
Florida?
Yeah. So he purchased Jacksonville-based APR Energy. Federal filing shows in a deal worth at least $1 billion. The Federal Trade Commission notice lists Musk as the buyer of new APR Energy LLC. They deploy mobile gas and diesel turbine plants that can be installed in days, powering data centers, utilities worldwide, even if there's blackouts and problems like that. Duo's technology disclosed $50.4 million in proceeds from its 5% stake, implying the deal's value, which is how they're getting to the $1 billion number. And the purchase adds a power-generating arm alongside of Tesla's energy division and XAI, whose data centers run on gas turbines sometimes. So I think that's why he's positioning this, is so he's got instantly deployable gas turbines anywhere that he needs power. And I think it's pretty smart. It's interesting, though, and it kind of went under the radar a little bit.
Well, and I think he's really smart because I think the choke point's going to be memory. There's all kinds of down stocks on computer chip people not being able to deliver what people want. And that's a big deal too, Jay. And so, anytime you can put yourself in a prime position, which he's done, it's going to give him a leg up. It's going to give the, X1, I don't know what you want to call it, rocket company / X that used
SpaceX,
to be Twitter / Grok. Isn't that what they call that one?
Yep.
Grok in a very powerful position, folks. It really is. Right now, it's kind of been falling behind along with Gemini and others, but things are a-changing. We'll keep an eye on it. You're watching Tech Watch. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to throw out a weekly reminder. Use a password manager. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to submit your credentials to the wrong site, Jay.
No, you do not. And in fact, there's going around a new scheme where people are trying to, they're always doing this, trying to hack your thing. But what it is, it's a fake job interview. They'll add it to your Google Calendar and with a bogus link. And if you click on it and you go to sign up, it'll ask you for your Google credentials and you put them in there and it's really going to somebody else. And there's a couple ways to prevent this. Number one is use a password manager. That's the recommendation here, or the takeaway. But also, if people are putting events on your calendar that you're not really approving or whatever, there's a setting in Google Calendar where you can say two options. I think they've actually changed this from the default, but the default used to be anybody could add something to your calendar. But now they've made it to where it emails you and you have to accept it first, which is a good idea. There's also one where you could even tighten it down more than that and say, only people that are in my contacts. Nobody else can add anything to my calendar.
Yeah. Anyway, they're just making it more difficult to live life because of scams and scandals and everything else. Well, the reason that this job thing is such a critical deal, because the average person's like, well, I'm not looking for a job. It's fine. But there's a lot of people looking for jobs now with the AI layoffs and everything else going on in tech. Microsoft is eliminating 4,800 jobs. That's
right.
2.1% of its workforce, Jay.
That's right. In their Xbox division, they're laying off people. They're losing roughly 1/5 of their staff, and 4 gaming studios spinning off out of the company as people develop, and it's kind of interesting. And I'm sure they're blaming that on AI. It's the easy out, right? But there's a lot of development going on.
There you have it. All right, folks. You think that WordPad or whatever is it WordPad
Notepad.
or Notepad? Notepad.
It's Notepad.
You think Notepad's getting bloated now? Notepad, interestingly enough, in the last couple of iterations of Microsoft updates, they've really changed Notepad, and I hate it. They made it multi-tab. They made it got AI support. They've taken away the whole purpose Notepad existed. I don't know why they don't just add that stuff to Word, and then you got WordPad in the middle. And I don't know why they do all this to Notepad, which was a basic editor and really neat to have for simplicity. Now they've destroyed it. Well, now we've got an answer, Jay.
Yeah, I don't know why they took out WordPad, which was more of like a rich text editor, a little bit of formatting, kind of a very simple Microsoft Office. I think they took it out so they could promote Office more. But WordPad did that sort of stuff, and that's where that thing should be as far as tabs, interfaces, and AI, and a spell check and stuff like that. Notepad is supposed to be a very simple text-only editor for editing INI files or doing things like that you need to do, and they've really bloated it up. But we got a cool video about it, and this guy Zach Shutt, he has a great channel on TikTok and all the different things, but he has a good piece about it. We'll listen to this.
Microsoft engineer rebuilt Notepad into 2.5 kilobytes. What is going on? Notepad used to be the simplest program on Windows. It was a blank box. You would type in it, you'd save, and that was literally it. And then Microsoft crammed in tabs, spell check, a Microsoft account login, and Copilot, an AI in a text editor, which immediately turned into a security hole. So Dave Plummer, who is legendary, by the way, I love his channel, the guy who built the original Windows Task Manager, said enough is enough and rebuilt Notepad himself. No AI, no account, no bloat, literally 2.5 kilobytes. By the way, that's smaller than the icon that Microsoft uses for Notepad. That's the point. A Microsoft veteran just proved the thing that Microsoft has spent years stuffing with features never needed a single one of them. And you know what? Here's the part that's actually useful. His version is free. It's on GitHub right now, and it opens the instant that you tap it. But if you'd rather keep the normal Notepad, you can turn off the AI yourself. Microsoft went and buried the setting after the backlash, but it is in there because nothing that you type in a plain text box needs a chat bot reading over your.
There you have it.
Exactly.
All I can tell you is that brilliant, and this just goes to show, too, in my mind, that this Plummer gentleman, and I commend him, we can write tight, good, clean, simple software that's not bloated, that's not like tied into the operating systems to where when one thing breaks, another thing breaks. And I mean, what a brilliant deal, Jay. And the joke, hey, it's smaller than the icon. He's right.
That's amazing, isn't it? It's smaller than the icon for the current Windows Notepad.
It makes me think that Steve Gibson wrote it.
Yeah, right. in assembly language or something.
I don't know what he wrote it in, but to get it that small is incredible, and I commend him. And it's very
this
hard
is
to
the
write
guy
tiny
who used to work
now.
for Microsoft. He wrote the Windows Task Manager, so he knows what he's doing. He's certainly a coder. He's an older guy, but he's one of those guys that we're losing too many of nowadays.
Did you get the program?
I have not downloaded it. No.
All right, well, download it and we'll play with it, and then we'll report on our findings. But
I do. I want to check it out. There is a setting though in the current Notepad, which I do on almost every computer that I'm on. You can go in there and you can turn off how it saves. It's kind of weird.
Right,
how
where do I go? I'm
it.
in Notepad, buddy. We'll do
So
it.
I don't have it right in front of because I'm actually
complex,
on a Windows
isn't it?
10 computer. Are you Windows 11, Sam? Right?
Yeah, it's all complex. You got to get rid of Windows 10, buddy. It's been.
No, they just extended the security update. So they just said another year we're going to do security if you're on the ESU plan, which I am. So I've got
I don't
Windows
even know
till
what ESU means, man. It sounds like a university,
extended service updates. I think is what it stands for.
Why are we on extended? I just
Because
All
we're
right.
like Windows
Anyway,
10.
How do I change this stupid thing?
Look at the gear icon. I don't know if you can get
I
to
don't even know
that
what a gear icon is, buddy. I don't need that.
in the top right. I know that you use it like tabs and stuff, but anyway, you go there and you look for. It's like how Windows saves and closes files, and you want to set it to just close it and don't open up new tabs, and it will behave like the older Notepad. It's a pretty simple.
All right, well, I'll have to study to find out where all that is.
I'll help you with it after the show.
All right. Anyway, I'm just saying, folks, think about that. It's just crazy. Now, I got good news, though. A paralyzed man, and I didn't get time to get this story to you. I just saw it at the last second, Jay, but it was so cool I wanted to bring it up.
Nice.
A paralyzed man regains touch and hand controls through breakthrough brain-computer interface. This is pretty cool. A new study published in Nature Medicine reports that let me see if I say this right, a double neuro bypass system combined an implanted brain electrodes system with a non-invasive electrical stimulation restored meaningful hand movement for him.
He's getting
gave him
wet-wired.
some strength, gave him some dexterity, even the sense of touch. He could feel things, Jay. It was a man with complete, how do you say it, touchalegia? Anyway, after 35 weeks of therapy, Keith Thomas gained enough function to perform everyday tasks, such as, scratch his face, lifting up objects.
Gain of function.
They say that brain-computer interfaces can make this happen.
Does that make him a cyborg, Sam?
I don't know how to answer that, but I would say it borders. I don't know. It's weird, and I'll tell you why it's weird. Because to be a cyborg, to be a computer, I don't support, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I can't say that I don't support this ability for this guy to be able to do this now.
Right.
What if they all of a sudden gave me the ability to see that way?
Yeah.
Would that make me a cyborg?
It might. You'd be like, 2% or something, right? You'd be certainly in there. I mean, it depends on how invasive it is, I guess. I don't know how you even measure that.
Well, and I don't know how you know when the line's crossed.
Right.
In other words, if it's for strange purposes, like I want to live forever, or I want to rule the world, or I want to be some mastermind or whatever, then it's easy to go, okay, that's crazy. But at the same time, if you're doing
right now, but you might not be in a couple of decades.
Well, maybe. But if I use it because I say I just need dexterity in my hands, or I need to be able to see, it changes the discussion, though. I'm not trying to play God, or I'm not trying to, become more, somehow in charge or more authority than everybody else, or some weird other element. I'm just simply saying, hey, if they can make me see, why wouldn't I see?
And that's more of an augmentation to restore abilities, right? It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not getting superpowers or something crazy.
Yeah, so I'm not this guy's not the Bionic Man, but he can just lift stuff now, at least. So I don't know. It's a very strange, and this is kind of how we'll be lulled into this. And I guess my only point would be, and I'm not trying to make this a religious or a political show, but my main point would be, hey, as long as you're not really trying to play God or become something that you're not with it, you're just trying to have a better life or quality of life discussion, like this guy being able to scratch his face. How would it be to not be able to scratch your face if you itch, Jay?
I don't know. That'd be weird.
So I'm just saying, you can't blame the guy to want to be able to do that, right?
Yeah. That's what I think NASA has to deal with when they're doing a spacewalk. What if your nose itches?
Well, that's what Elon Musk is working on in his, I don't think he was involved in this example, but he has a lot of technology that's similar to this, right?
Oh yeah, he's doing that. He's got people that are volunteering to get wet wired in the brain, like, add USB jacks and everything.
They think they ought to at least make sure it's a USB-C if they're going to do that, Jay.
They definitely, we want to be backwards compatible on that.
What happens when a USB-D comes out?
I don't know. You have to get an upgrade.
You have to upgrade your jack in your brain. Sounds jacked up to me if you ask.
You got to pay for the subscription, probably.
Oh, no. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's another Tech Watch. Thanks so much for being alongside with the ride. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. NetworkProvidersInc.com. Hey, make it a great tech day, will you? Thanks.